Hey everyone, welcome to Wealth Redefined. I'm your host, Michael Reynolds, independent financial advisor, owner of Elevation Financial. I can be found on the web at elevationfinancial.com. Thanks for joining me today. Took a couple weeks off, just got really busy. No excuse other than that, but kind of prepping for a change in time. I'm broadcasting now live at 11 a.m. on Tuesdays instead of later in the day. So those who stop by live, that is my new time, 11 a.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. That's when you can find me on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Twitter Live, and LinkedIn Live, all the live places. So yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be podcasting again, episode 133 today. And today we're talking about money scripts. So I'm really excited about this because I've really been digging into this recently, and it's been really, really interesting and really kind of fascinating to dig deeper into a lot of the elements of financial behaviors and the psychology of money. And a lot of this came from this designation I finished up recently. I just wrapped up the Certified Financial Therapist Level 1 designation. So that has been kind of part of the journey I'm on to dig deeper into the behavioral aspects of money, which I think are incredibly important. I think they're often as, or sometimes even more important than the technical aspects of money. And so it's my belief that to really be a good financial planner and a good financial advisor, I think I need to understand the behavioral aspects of money in tandem with the technical aspects, because the spreadsheets and the math, all that stuff's important, but when it comes down to it, action and behavior and perspective on money often affects our wealth as much as anything else. And so I'm really excited to be kind of digging into that. So part of that that journey, or part of that designation I've been working on as well, it kind of uncovered some discussion around money scripts. And so I want to talk today about money scripts and what they are, and just give you kind of a little basic primer and a basic overview of money scripts to develop some understanding around how these might affect all of us, and how these money scripts might affect the way we relate to money and all aspects of our financial plan. So with that, just kind of a basic background on money scripts and what they are. So money scripts, as kind of a short summarized answer, they're the unconscious beliefs we have about money. Money scripts were developed by Dr. Brad Klontz, who's a leading financial psychologist. And his discussion around money scripts states that these are rooted in childhood, and they ultimately shape our overall financial health. And they've been found to be associated with lots of different aspects of financial health, including income, net worth, debt, financial behavior, what we do with our money, and lots of areas of our financial health. They're learned in childhood. They're often just partial truths, and they're often passed down from generation to generation. So, ours often come from our parents, and we often pass them to our children. A lot of times they're responsible for our financial outcomes. So we make our financial decisions with our money through the lens of these money scripts. They often kind of guide unconsciously the decisions we make about money. So again, they're unconscious. We usually don't know we have them. We're not aware of these money scripts because they are unconscious by nature. So let's talk about what they are. So according to Dr. Klontz, there are 4 money scripts that we may have. And I'm going to go through each one and first talk about some of the descriptors and some of the natures of these money scripts. And then I'm going to wrap up a little bit with some of the proactive tips we can use or implement to manage those money scripts. We can maybe possibly counteract some of the negative influences of those money scripts in certain ways. So we're going to talk about those as well. So first, the first money script is money status. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and list the 4 of them and then go back and talk about them individually. So the money scripts are money status, money worship, money vigilance, and money avoidance. Those are the 4 money scripts. So we'll start with money status. So money status is a tendency. People who have the money status script or score highly on the money status script tend to link their self-worth with their net worth. They kind of say, hey, well, my worth is kind of designed around how much money I have. They often prioritize outward displays of wealth. And because of this, they're often at risk of overspending. The money status script may lead one to believe that if you live a virtuous life, then the universe will take care of your financial needs. They may have grown up in lower socioeconomic environments, and may have come from a household that gave a higher social standing to people with more money, sort of a respect for people with more money. Can be prone to spending too much, often spending more than they can afford. The money status script may also lead people to be prone to gambling excessively. They can often be financially dependent on others, and they often might be guilty of hiding spending from spouses or partners as well. So, those are some elements that are often true of those with a high score on the money status script. Next, the money worship script. Money worshipers may believe that money is the key to happiness. They find that, or they feel that the solution to their problems is to have more money. They feel like if you have more money, that leads to more happiness. Um, they often also believe that one can never have enough money. So this feeling of scarcity is always there. The pursuit of money never quite satisfies them. That hole is never quite filled. Um, if they have a higher money worship score, they're often more likely to carry credit card debt. And a lower net worth usually follows a higher score here as well. The credit card debt and the tendency to use debt can lower that net worth as well. Often likely to put work ahead of family, often prioritizing workaholism over spending time with family or loved ones. And they often give or loan money to others, even though they can't really afford to do so. Again, this stems from their belief that money equals happiness. And so, it's a good natured place they're coming from, which is to, give or lend money to others, thinking that also leads to happiness. So, those are some tendencies of the money worship script. Next, money vigilance. The money vigilance script is a tendency to be alert, watchful, very concerned about their financial health, feeling that they have enough, feeling they have enough money. I'm sorry, back up. The feeling of having enough money is important to them. That's phrased poorly. They believe it's really important to save. They're not really waiting for a financial windfall or winning the lottery. They're not depending on external factors or circumstances. They're really depending on themselves. And again, that belief that it's important to save and be prepared. They often don't think people should be given, quote, financial handouts. People with higher money vigilance scores often show higher levels of financial health overall because they're paying such close attention to their money and being so vigilant about it. They're really already making pretty good choices. They're pretty much meeting their needs already and are fairly responsible with money overall. They're less likely to use debt. Often money vigilance, people who score highly on money vigilance scores are less likely to use debt or to buy on credit. They tend to value bargains. They like a good deal. That's one aspect. They can also be somewhat anxious about their financial futures. That vigilance can also lead to anxiety sometimes. They're usually discreet about their financial status with others. They don't really want people to know how much money they have or how much money they make. They're a little bit discreet about that. Although on the flip side, they rarely keep financial secrets from partners. They tend to be very responsible about communication with partners about money as well. Money vigilance tends to encourage saving and frugality, as we mentioned before. Also smart with spending. This tends to, again, lead to pretty good financial health overall. The downside of this is, unfortunately, it can also lead to excessive, anxiety with money or being wary of not having enough money. So the anxiety can be higher with a money vigilance script, which can not be great for personal health and happiness. So this can often prevent people from enjoying their money if they have a money vigilance script that's very high. Next and last, let's talk about money avoidance. So money avoidance tends to show up in people that are highly educated, fairly intelligent, and wise. The higher score on the money avoidance script suggests a belief that money is bad. The money avoidance script kind of leads to this belief that money is evil or money is bad. It may also lead people with this script to believe they don't deserve money. They also believe that, or they may believe that wealthy people are greedy or corrupt. Again, associating money with negativity or with evil or with just being bad in general. They often believe that there is virtue in living with less money. They tend to place a higher level of virtue on having less money. And because of all this stuff, because of all these scripts or these elements of this script, they might end up sabotaging their financial success. This money avoidance leads to potential problems with financial success because they have negative ideas about wealth and having money. So Also, because of this, they may frequently give money away. This is part of an unconscious effort to have as little money as possible. Money avoidance can also be associated with trying not to think about money. This can lead people with this script often to ignore financial statements or bills, um, or they often overspend or use their money to enable others financially as well. Again, trying to kind of get rid of money. Money is not something I deserve. I need to kind of get rid of it. So they also have difficulty managing a budget because, again, the avoidance part of the script is to not think about money, to not pay attention to money, to basically kind of ignore money and keep it out of sight, out of mind, or things dealing with money. Therefore, budgeting is often difficult for people with a high score on money avoidance script. Choice of occupation is also interesting with money avoidance scripts. A lot of times you'll see very high helping professions have the money avoidance script. People like psychologists, social workers, people in a very giving and helping professions often score higher on the money avoidance script. Professions in business, for example, score lower typically. So these helping professions, you typically see a lot of those in money avoidance scripts. So those are the four money scripts, the elements of those scripts, and some of the behavioral attributes of those scripts and how they can show up in our personalities. And by the way, we don't just all have one money script. Often we have maybe a balance, or we score higher on one and then a secondary. So these money scripts are very fluid, and they're very they kind of work together in many ways. So you might have a very high score in money worship, and then maybe a secondary score in money status, or other ways they could be balanced differently. So it's not like you have like one plugged in money script for each person. So how do we manage these? How do these affect how we relate to money and build wealth and achieve financial success overall? So with each money script, there's always potential downsides. There's things that money scripts can influence us to do or not do when it comes to managing money. So let's talk about each of those and how we can manage those things, and some things we can do to overcome some of the problematic areas in these money scripts. So let's start with money status again. So with money status, again, this is a belief that self worth is really tied to money and to wealth and to net worth. So one thing we can do to overcome some of the downsides or the negative aspects of this money script is to evaluate purchasing decisions through the lens of why. As you're making purchases, maybe set a cooling off period before discretionary purposes. Ask yourself, why am I making this purchase? Why am I buying this thing? Is it because I'm looking for status? Is it because I'm looking for some level of satisfaction through an outward demonstration of status? What's the reason for it? Will it truly make me happy? And then maybe set a cooling off period, a day or two, or a couple days, and say, okay, if I really still want this thing after a couple days, then maybe I'll buy it. But I'm using a self-imposed delay or waiting period on purchases like that. Also, it really helps this money script angle to discuss your spending with your partner, a trusted advisor, a friend, someone that can help you see objectively some of these patterns. Also, balancing health in all areas can be beneficial for this money script. So, personal health, physical health, relationships. These are all things that you could kind of focus on to help balance the influence of the money status script in your life. Keeping yourself physically and mentally and personally healthy with relationships can help you reprioritize those areas and bring them back in balance. Next, let's talk about money worship. So the money worship script again is this concept that money equals happiness. That if you have enough money or more money, that can lead to more happiness. So often, this money script can be managed in a positive way by starting with a pattern of giving with intention, thinking that, well, money doesn't always have to equate to my happiness. I can use the act of using money as a tool, as giving, to help kind of overcome that need to just pile on more money. Also, setting aside dedicated time to focus on loved ones. This money worship script often leads to, again, workaholism and prioritizing work and the gathering of money over relationships. And so, by intentionally setting aside time that's dedicated to focus on loved ones, on family, on specific time with people you love, that can really help you to be more intentional about those things and not sacrifice those things in the pursuit of money which in your mind might equal happiness as a high money worship script. Also, ask why. Just like with money status, ask why with discretionary purposes. Why am I buying this thing? Is it because I'm seeking some level of happiness from it? Do I really need it? The cooling off period in this case might help as well. With money vigilance is again this script that is very focused on saving money, keeping money, paying attention to money. Having anxiety around money often leads to a lack of being able to enjoy money. So this can be overcome in some ways by having fun with your money and really kind of forcing yourself to have fun with your money, setting a fun money budget. Money vigilance often equates to having a strong budget. So in your budget, set aside things for fun. Um, Intentionally put a line item that says this is just for ridiculous fun things or for whatever that seems like frivolous spending. Commit to a certain amount of ridiculous spending, stuff that is really not practical, but is just purely for fun, and kind of train yourself to get used to enjoying your money and being okay with getting some happiness from it. Like many of these scripts, talking to a partner or trusted friend can help with accountability, someone that can kind of nudge you to get out of your comfort zone and to have fun with your money and spend a little bit more. And also, it's helpful to make time to analyze your finances with an objective eye. When you often the money vigilance script can lead to just piling away money, saving, never spending, being frugal, without looking at the big picture. So when you step back, analyze your financial statements, analyze your net worth, analyze where you really are from a financial position. And if you look at that with an objective eye, you're likely to find that with this script, you're in a really good financial position and you literally can afford to have more fun with your money. So set aside time for critically and objectively analyzing your financial position, and that can help you overcome some of the anxiety around money vigilance. Finally, money avoidance. So, money avoidance is characterized by, again, feelings that money is bad or evil. Being wealthy is a bad thing. Wealthy people are corrupt or greedy. Thinking about money leads to anxiety or negative feelings. So, often this can lead to sabotage in financial success. And so, what we want to do is counteract that by potentially creating rituals around becoming financially informed. Make it a habit to check in on your money, to look at your financial statements, to look at your bank accounts and investment statements, and log into your accounts and actually look at what's there. Look at your debt. If you have debt, take a look at what you have and what your schedule is for paying off that debt, so you're informed about that. It's it's a matter of forcing yourself to just look at where your money is and what's going on, and maybe setting a time in your calendar, like a date with yourself, even to say, hey, for 15 minutes a week, I'm going to just look at where my money is and what's going on, and I'm going to just kind of soak it in and be okay with that, and just kind of not hide it or not avoid it. Also, automation is really helpful for the money avoidance script. Automating savings and investing can be extremely valuable because it can keep you from overanalyzing it. So if you're high on the money avoidance script, then the automation can just make that a default habit. So money avoidance can lead to things like not saving and not investing and not making decisions. But by making an intentional habit out of automation, go to your bank accounts and automate a savings plan of every week or every month, move a certain amount from your checking account to savings, and that just happens automatically. And you're investing, auto contribute to your Roth IRA every month, and just put it on autopilot so the system just pulls it out for you on a preset schedule. That automation can help you avoid the overanalyzing and the paralysis that comes with that, and also keep those habits in motion, keep those good financial habits in motion without you having to worry about it as much. Also, it can be helpful in money avoidance to set goals and reward yourself. So, maybe it's paying off that credit card or paying off a debt along the way, or saving a certain amount in your emergency fund, or investing a certain amount, or putting maxing out your Roth IRA, whatever it might be. Setting goals and then reward yourself for those goals. Say, hey, I'm going to treat myself to this thing or this purchase, or going out for ice cream or whatever it might be, whatever makes sense for you. Treat yourself and reward yourself based on achieving those goals. And that can help kind of create iterative progress in that direction. Also, it can be helpful in this script to think about ways to use money for good. We want to kind of start thinking about the antithesis of the money is evil script and moving more in the direction of money as a tool that can be used for good. And so, if you're thinking through, hey, I can use money for charitable giving, I can use money to help friends, I can use money to do all these good things for my community or for the world, then money starts to become a tool that can have a positive purpose in your life. And so, by thinking about ways to use money for good, maybe again, set aside a time every week, every month to kind of plan out, hey, what am I going to use money for this week or this month that is a positive impact on my community or loved ones or the world? And that can be a way to start kind of redefining or reprogramming your script from money is evil to money is a tool that can have a positive effect. So those are some ways to counteract some of the issues around money avoidance. So I find this fascinating. I find it really interesting to dig into money scripts and even self-reflect on where my money scripts come from and where they are and how to manage those things. So you might be wondering next, how do I figure out what my money script is? There are a number of quizzes and assessments out there. You can Google money scripts quiz. NerdWallet has one. I'm not endorsing any particular one. I try to avoid that, but there are a few out there. Some are simpler, some are more complicated, but they all generally kind of give you the same set of questions, the same general feedback. Some is more detailed, but you can start there. So again, maybe Googling money scripts quiz, you'll find quite a few out there. And this is not meant to be, definitive scientific research that defines your whole life. And it's not a diagnosis for anything. It's just a way of getting a sense of where you might score on these money scripts. And so by doing that, it might be a good starting point to see, well, what does this say about my behavior toward money, and what do I want to learn from this? And what are some things I might want to think through related to my money scripts and my behaviors going forward, whether it's understanding where they're coming from or how it influences you, and or some of the tools for working within these money scripts in a positive way. So again, it goes a little bit deeper. A lot of it is it's more work than just taking a quiz and thinking about it. It's there may be some work to be done for all of us in managing these money scripts, but that's a good starting point. So if you would like to learn more about money scripts, how to kind of think through them, questions about them, definitely feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to chat. But I hope that's been helpful to walk through what money scripts are, how they can influence our financial plan and our financial life, and some ways to interact with them as kind of a self-reflection starting point. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up there as always and invite you, as always, to reach out if you would like to chat further. My website is elevationfinancial.com. You can send me a message through my website, or you're welcome to book a complimentary money session, and you can ask specific questions there, and I'm happy to talk through anything on your mind in those sessions. So with that, thanks for joining me today. As always, have a great day. See you next time.